Hello and welcome to Soul in Balance, the place to get your regular solar system news. And if you'd like to stay up to date with the conscious, collective, cosmic weather, make sure you subscribe. So in this video, we are going over the full moon in Aries. That will be happening on the 14th of October. At 8:07 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Now, this full moon is going to be at 20 degrees of Aries, and it has been such an intense couple of weeks. The toxic collective sludge that has been spewing out of all of us has just been absolutely radical. We have been feeling feelings of intense fear. It could be affecting, your nervous system, like having emotional and nervous system breakdowns. There is just so much that's coming up to be cleared on such a, unconscious and global level, it's just all kind of pouring out of us at the moment, fear and guilt, abandonment, a lot of the things we might have experienced in our childhood and in our past lives and our bloodlines that are coming up, and the world at large. It is just such an intense time, and it feels like there's no stability, that we're going to lose everything that we have, that everything just seems to be slipping away, things not making sense, not trusting, feeling so insecure within ourselves. So it's such an intense time, and what is really the focus at this time is definitely our relationships. Our relationships are all coming up to be reviewed, whether to end or to transform, have some innovation within our relationships. So stay tuned and I'll bring you the report. Okay, so full moon in Aries, and this is a power-packed full moon of just radical change, innovation, death, and rebirth, and all the toxic sludge and fear and pain coming up to the surface to be felt and cleared, especially if you are a super sensitive person, if you're an empathic person, somebody who's very connected to their environment. You will definitely be feeling these waves of fear, waves of grief, anger, resentment, all this old stuff that we need to be clearing, especially from ourselves, our bloodline, and the collective consciousness. So this full moon is definitely going to be about relationships. But let's just take a step back and look at Aries. So Aries is the warrior. Aries is what we need on a primal level. Are we, serving ourselves on a primal level in relationships? Are we understanding what we need? Are we honoring our self-worth and our own feelings and what we need there in our relationships? And I just want to make a really clear statement here that the most important relationship we have is with ourselves. The relationship we have with ourselves is the relationship we're going to see with other people. So it's important to be working here first. So what we're needing to do at this time is realistically be going through what is going on. It is a time of radical change in relationships. It is a time that, we could just be seeing radical endings with, our friends, in our partnerships, in our work, whatever it is, any kind of relating, if things aren't being transformed, if innovation isn't happening. There can be some people, or can be some of us, where some relationships just can't be salvaged. They need to be let go of, because this is a time of letting go and starting new. At this time, there is a T-square going out from the sun, the moon, over to Pluto and Saturn and all those planets over there. So it really is a time of just, purification, endings, transformation. And in our relationships, we really need to be going over, is this relationship serving me on an emotional level, on a primal level, on a self-worth level? If it is not, then we need to be letting it go. But then we also need to be having conversations and bringing up the stuff that, you know, people don't want to talk about, you know, like we might be having to have that conversation with our partner. Is there betrayal there? Is this working? How can we make this work? How can we be more of a conscious, you know, couple, or be in a conscious relationship? Because those are the relationships that are going to last. You know, we are creating a new world right now. Our old structures are ending. And the only relationships and circumstances and situations and structures in our lives that are going to move forward with us are the ones that are in alignment and the ones that are conscious. So realistically, we need to be working through this stuff. We need to be sitting down with ourselves first and foremost, and then with the people in our lives that we're having conflict with, you know. So it is just a very, very challenging time at this time. So over the last couple of weeks, we've had some very challenging astrological aspects going on that is just so triggering, and especially within our own internal dynamics. So we have Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries, with Aries ruling planet Mars over in Libra, which is in relationships, relating, balance, peace, judgment, you know, commitment, yeah, and open enemies and things like that. So it is very, very, very challenging. And what it is doing is just causing explosions. So, you know, we might have been feeling, you know, so much grief and overwhelm spewing out from the collective and from our past and all the wounding that we haven't dealt with. And then we've just had these explosions and then acted in such a radical way without thinking. And then we've just had the worst outcomes come back at us, you know, like this can be a time when we can just lose everything from these radical outbreaks, but at the same time they are important. You know, they can be transformed if that is available. So, you know, it might not be a time to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but then it also might be a time to, you know, just let things go as well. But you will know in your heart, and you will know, you know, over this weekend and after this full moon, what is working and what is not. But realistically, Chiron and Mars making aspects together is just digging up that old wounding so it finally comes out, you know. And, you know, we're going to be, some of us are going to be, you know, maybe taking that out on our partners, blaming our partners for how we're feeling. But realistically, it's our own grief, it's our own trauma that needs to be healed. But luckily, you know, this aspect is, you know, separating at this time. We do actually have at this current moment Venus opposite Uranus. So Uranus is about radical change, and it's in the house of self-worth. And Libra is over there in Scorpio trying to find the truth, wanting intensity, wanting connection, you know. So it's a time of kind of, you know, figuring out what's going on. It can be a time of radical endings and innovation, like I've said, you know, a few times in this video. But what is being brought up is the truth. Venus wants to know the truth, what is going on. And then Uranus wants to feel good and innovate, you know, and change and transform and look at things from a higher level. So at this time, we really need to be transforming the relationship with ourselves and transforming the relationship with everybody in our lives. And, you know, we might want to let go of the conventional. You know, we might want to try something different. This is a time of trying something new, you know, with Venus in Scorpio. It wants intensity. It wants, you know, to feel a deep connection. It wants to feel truth. It wants to feel passion, you know. And then when it's making aspects out to Uranus that just wants, you know, just radical transformation and something innovative, you know, we might be wanting to have, you know, foreign relationships and have relationships with people that are completely different to us. We might be sick of the status quo, the white picket fence and the 2.5 children and, you know, working a 9 to 5. We might just want something radically different and, you know, decide to, you just want to be with somebody that's, you know, a different nationality personality, or, you know, somebody who's a little bit quirky, or somebody who's a little bit different. It's a time of wanting new. It's a time of wanting something different and transforming our lives. So we might be having to ask ourselves the question that, you know, is this relationship serving us? And we need to be having proper conversations with our partners and the people in our lives. You know, this can be a time of betrayal and abandonment. You know, some people that operate in lower frequencies might just, you know, go and have, you know, affairs, or go and do things and be in intimate situations and not being honest with their partner and not telling them how they're really feeling. You know, you need to be very, very, very open with your partner at this time, communicating needs, communicating what's working and what can be transformed. Because if it's not being processed and worked out in all aspects within ourselves, within our partnerships, our work, our structures, it is just going to be wiped out. So it's very important at this time to, you know, to be working on these aspects as well. One of the really good aspects here at this full moon is the aspects being made out to Jupiter. So the moon is making a trine out to Jupiter and a sextile out to the sun. So Jupiter is about expansion. It's about higher knowledge. It's about finding the truth and finding the wisdom. Like Jupiter's the guru. It's about expanding on that happiness. So realistically, if we can find innovation in our relationships, if we can honor ourselves and our relationship with ourselves, then Jupiter is that guiding force, that helping hand to just drag it out of the mud. You know, help it, you know, be transformed. So realistically, it is just so tough, but we have to be doing the work. We have to be having those honest conversations with ourselves. And I just can't emphasize it enough, especially with, you know, Mercury in Scorpio, trying to find the truth, digging into what is going on. And Mercury is in shadow phase right now. And, you know, over the last couple of weeks, we might have been just experiencing such negative thoughts, you know, negative mindsets and all this underworld stuff, all this stuff that we've been having, we've probably felt inside ourselves for a long time that needs to be come up, you know, needs to come up and be cleared. So realistically, there is just so much going on. Like there's just so many planetary aspects that it's just radical at the moment. But I think at the moment we need to be having those serious conversations, communication about what's going on. And then, you know, we also have a T-square making those aspects out to Pluto, you know, which is that death and transformation. That old can be transformed, you know, if, you know, the conversations are being had, if we're checking the relationship with ourselves, if we're honoring what we want, you know, we need to be moving into the new. We're moving into new structures, a new world, a new earth. So we need to be making sure and checking in to see if this is what we really want. There is no point not honoring what we want right now, because it is only going to affect, you know, the people in our lives. And we need to be, you know, respecting the people in our lives as well and be telling them the truth about how we're feeling. You know, we might be having to have those awkward conversations, you know, instead of just doing something really that's going to hurt you and the people in your life. So yeah, it's just really, really important at this time that we're really checking in with what's going on and what we need. So I just want to quickly mention the astrologer and founder of Evolution Astrology, which is Jeffrey Wolfgreen, released 2 books on Pluto. So he did the first book, which is Pluto's Journey of the Soul and Evolution, and then he also did Pluto's Evolution through Relationships. So if you know how to do the composite chart for you and your partner, you'll definitely be able to, you know, go into what the Pluto's evolution is with you and your partner for your relationship. And I think it's really correlating to what is going on right now. So me personally, I had a lot of issues come up within myself with all this fear and grief that's been going on and having to deal with my issues. I went back and just thought, I need to investigate something that's going on, you know, like with all the Mercury, Scorpio action, you know, in shadow phase. It's just like, what's going on? I need to dig up and find the truth. So I've, gone back and just realized that the issues that we're facing in relationships right now is that Pluto transformation that's really being highlighted. So I think it's important to, get this book or go see an astrologer or if you've already got this book, or purchase this book and find out what's going on, because this is going to be very helpful for your relationship moving forward. Me personally, with my partner, we have Pluto in Scorpio on the cusp of the 9th house. So it's Sagittarius and Scorpio issues going on here, which is dealing with mistrust, dealing with, not being honest and having to transform that and communicate what's true. And then also, the Scorpio Taurus situation, the polarity points there of, letting go of enmeshment, finding our own stability and our own empowerment and self-worth in relationships, having time to be our own individual people, So I think it's very important that if you're in a relationship and with all the stuff that's going on right now, what we're needing to transform and what's being triggered in our relationships is the Pluto stuff. So definitely, get this book, go on Amazon. I'll leave some links down below of how you can get this book if you already got it, great. Or go see an astrologer so you can see what you and your partner are currently transforming at this time, because everybody in relationships right now are clearing the collective relationship consciousness. We are clearing past lives of relationships. We are changing relationships, and the ones that are going to move forward are the ones that are able to move to that Pluto polarity point. So yes, get yourself a copy, go see an astrologer or read your own book. It's a time to just be going back. As Mercury is in shadow phase in Scorpio, it's a time of investigating and finding the truth and what is going to help us get through and transform at this time. So we also have a grand water trine that I think is actually quite healing if the work is being done. So if we are, innovating and transforming and having those conversations, we are going to get help from that spirit realm. We are going to get help from the universe. We are going to get help from, other souls out there that are here to help guide us, our spirit guides and things like that. We are here able to, make this grand water trine something that is very healing and very purifying. But that does take doing the emotional work, having those awkward conversations. So yeah, there is help in this situation, but ultimately what's happening is change. There needs to be change and radical change across the board. And we need to be getting real about what that change is. So, with this grand water trine, it is asking us to just check in with our emotions right now. It might be a time to just have a massive cry, get out how you're feeling, go to the beach, go spend time in water. Water is very purifying. That's why we enjoy having showers, because it's very clearing of that energy. So I just think it's very important at this time that we are checking in with our emotions, that we are giving ourselves space to retreat in and find out what we need on an emotional level, because there is support out there at this time as well, Okay, so I'll do the Sabian symbol for this degree of this full moon in Aries. Now we have 20 degrees of Aries, a young girl feeding birds in the winter. Keen note, overcoming crisis through compassion. The transmutation of life into love. So realistically, feeding a bird in winter, that means winter. It means things are at a dark point. But, feeding that bird, a bird is a messenger of hope. So if we can feed that hope in this winter time that is going on, we are going to be able to transmute and find love. So it is very important at this time to find compassion within ourselves and compassion for others. It is just such an intense time, and we all need to be finding compassion, and compassion comes from having compassion from ourselves first. So I'm going to get a couple of cards for this full moon, as it is quite intense. So I was just wondering how everybody else is going. There's just so many people that are feeling so much craziness at the moment. You know, a lot of people blaming the other person. Oh no, it's you. You're the one who needs to change. But it's not, you know, like these dynamics are happening because we need to be, you know, letting go of these toxic attachments or negativity. So yeah, it is just absolutely radical at the moment. I know I've really struggled with this stuff, with this energy, you know, like the fear coming up, like even just like the heart palpitations, the grief in my lungs, and the stress on my bones and in my teeth, and just absolute exhaustion and just being in a state of trauma. It is just absolutely radical at the moment. Like the extent of the energy that is passing through us at the moment is, oh my God, just nothing that I have personally experienced myself to this degree anyway. But yeah, I'll just get one more card. And then we will do the reading. Right. Okay. Alrighty, so I've got Celestial Teacher. The message, positive news, positive outcome. And we have the card Jealousy, Sweetheart, Message, and Unexpected Joy. Now, I think all this makes quite sense. Quite a lot of sense. Now, okay, Celestial Teacher. We are our own best teacher. This is a time for going inside and finding the information we need. You know, there is no point going outside of ourselves and looking for help because there is instability everywhere. The only stability that we can actually control is our own selves, is our own internal dynamics. And that comes from being in alignment, you know, and that is very hard, especially when there's so much fear and grief and abandonment and loss and pain and trauma just freaking everywhere. The only place that we can find calm and be centered is within ourselves, and that is when we can connect to our higher truth, find that knowledge, find that teacher that we need. Yes, it is good to connect to people on YouTube and people that are going on the same journey as you, but everybody's journey is different and everybody sees things through their own scope of understanding. So you will know what is best for you. Like at this time, it's too easy to know what is best for you, you know, like if it is causing trauma in your body, what can you do to change it within yourself and then be able to see it in the world at large and in your relationships? You know, it is definitely a time where we have that power. You know, Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn is asking us to be our own authority, you know, be that guru, be that leader within ourselves. You know, it's not a time to be looking at people to save us and save us from our circumstances. We need to be saving ourselves first, and then we will get that helping hand from the universe, you know. So it's definitely a time to be our own teacher. Okay, so we got the message, positive news. Now, I can definitely relate to this as well. Like, you know, we are going through so much. We are having so much confrontations and blow-ups and, you know, terrible things happening at the world at large, and all the trauma that we're feeling within inside ourselves, and everything just seems hopeless. But there is positivity that is coming, you know, that those Jupiter aspects and that grand water trine. There is help and support out there to help you heal and transform and innovate. But the work has to be done inside first, and then connecting and talking and having those conversations within our world at large. Like, we just have to do the work. So there is, you know, hope, there is a positive message, but we have to, you know, be awake enough to see it, you know, stop looking with the blinkers on, you know, everything is just bad. Like, it is, everything does feel really crappy right now. But there is, you know, that shimmer of hope, and we need to just have faith in that there is positivity coming. You know, it might be a time for some of us that we just have a lot of radical endings, but then, you know, the new is coming through. Something bigger and better is coming through, you know. That old stuff that you might have been carrying, or that old relationship you've had for years that just doesn't serve you anymore, is going to end. you know, and, you know, especially with Pluto, I mean, Venus opposite Uranus, this is a time of just some amazing, innovating person just bang, coming into your life like that, you know, like just like this positive spin on your life that you didn't even expect. So, you know, if a relationship or situations in your life need to end, you know, there is a positive outcome no matter what the circumstances are. Okay, in regards to the Gypsy cards, so first off, I'm just going to say there is a lot of jealousy going on. There is a lot of betrayal. There is a lot of insecurity. Mercury and Venus in Scorpio is very much about finding the truth, you know, not trusting, you know, being in a state of, you know, abandonment. And it can be, you know, from, you know, childhood stuff, you know, and we can be feeling jealous of our partners. We can be feeling like, oh my God, they're going to abandon us. They're going to leave us. They're going to cheat on us. They're going to leave me for someone else. We can be feeling like that. We can definitely be feeling like that. There's so many aspects going on right now that is definitely triggering this. But then, you know, if we look at it there again, this letter, this message of hope, the same as what we had here, the positive news, positive outcome. So if you and your partner or you and your relationships are doing the work, you can transmute this, you can transform this, but you have to be with somebody that is willing to do that work with you. Realistically, you know, you need to be doing the work and have a partner that's willing to evolve as well. We can't be just, you know, evolving on our own and just staying with stagnant partners that's, you know, it's just not working, because Uranus would just come along like a lightning bolt and just break that shit right up, you know. Okay, so yeah, I just think here, you know, with the message card and the sweetheart card and unexpected joy, you know, we can, if we do the work, we can transform this stuff. If we be our own teacher, if we, you know, connect to ourselves and be in alignment and be in conscious relationships, it is just going to transform. And one of the things we really need to be letting go of is attachments, those negative attachments. You know, we've all been wounded. We've been wounded from our past relationships, from our childhood, from our past life. So we get into relationships that are comfortable, you know, so we get that partner to meet our needs, so we don't have to ever feel like that again. But we really need to be doing that work now so we don't have those negative attachments. You need to be free and your partner needs to be free, because those are the relationships that are going to move forward, not the ones that have these old, you know, negative attachments still connected to them, where you have to be with the person, you can't break up, it's too overwhelming, you have to stay together. It's a time where that's just not even going to stay anymore. And, you know, over the next, I think by January 2020, I would say any relationship that's not going to work will definitely be over by that time. But yeah, I don't really like saying that. It's really harsh. But at the end of the day, we need to be evolving. We need to be transforming. You know, we don't have a choice to stay back anymore and just do this stuff that we've been doing for generations and generations. You know, things need to change. So I just want to end this video really just highlighting the need to have a relationship with ourselves first and foremost. Our relationship with ourselves trumps every single relationship in our life. So the relationship with ourselves is going to be mirrored back to us by other people and our circumstances. And, you know, in correlation with that, you know, reprogramming the mind. I say this every video, waking up in a frame of mind of loving ourselves and changing our old beliefs. This is a time to just ditch the old stuff, because it's not serving us, and we're just going to lose everything if we don't start taking responsibility of ourselves. You know, we need to be being that celestial teacher. You know, we need to be being that guru for ourselves. It is just such a hard time at the moment, and it's going to make it a lot easier if we can start reprogramming our mind and start connecting to ourselves and being our highest selves and connecting to what we need, you know, and that is being in alignment. you know, and finding that calmness within ourselves at the moment. It's just it's the only way that is going to help us get through it this time. You know, obviously I'm not going to ever say don't process the stuff that's coming up. Like, I think anger and fear and pain and grief and crying, all that stuff needs to come out. You know, we are dealing with lifetimes of oppression and suppression that, you know, we need to be clearing, especially with Mars opposite Chiron, you know, dealing with where we're wounded in a primal sense, how we couldn't have our feelings. We just had to, you know, soldier on and be that warrior, that wounded warrior in life and survive. So we really need to be getting up that old stuff. But it's very important to just keep coming back to, hey, you know, what's important for me? You know, how can I connect to something higher to myself? How can I reprogram my mind so, you know, outcomes can change for me, so I can move forward into something better? So it is very, very important that we really do check our relationship with ourselves. You know, some people like to have their, you know, their most important relationship or their primal relationship with God. I personally think the most important relationship is with ourselves, but, you know, each to their own. If people want to connect more to the universe or God or whatever it is, do whatever works for you. But for me, personally, it is, you know, I see that we're all, you know, a mirror image of God. We're all, you know, a reflection of this amazing universe. So I personally think we need to connect to our own inner God, our own wisdom, our own teacher, our own, guru. So at this time, it's a time to be connecting to ourselves and what we need. And this is what is going to help us move forward and innovate. So yes, that is it for me. So good luck to everybody out there. It is just an intense time. It is so fucking tough. And I hate saying that, but it is so tough. And, you know, we are going to get through this, you know, just there is hope. There is, you know, messages of hope. There is unexpected joy. But the best thing to do is just to find yourself in the chaos, you know, because if we want peace in the world, we have to find peace in our heart first. So so that is it for me. So happy full moon in Aries and many soul journey blessings.